I want to challenge Nigerians to do something to prove me wrong. That Tinubu will not be running against himself in 2027.
So Mike Ozekhome, welcome to Hard Copy.
Thank you very much, Hard Copy. And welcome, Nigerians.
It's good to see you.
A very happy people.
Yes.
No matter the hardship.
But you see, people keep saying that. That's a good thing. They keep saying we're the happiest people on the planet. That we're resilient in the face of daunting circumstances doesn't make us happy.
Our resilience is incredible. It's just, it's simply unbelievable. You push the average Nigerian to the wall rather than recede or turn around to fight or attack the aggressor. The average Nigerian would rather break down the walls to further run, to run away rather than attack. So even a goat, when pushed to the wall, we turn around and bite.
Is that where we are?
But Nigerians don't. We are docile. We want to stay in our comfort, in our comfortable cocoons. No one wants to stick out his neck. Everyone is afraid of his or her shadow. That's not how to grow a country.
That's not. I keep trying to tell you, that's not a compliment.
No, it's not complimentary at all.
It's not complimentary at all, that you're a doormat.
Yeah, to do nothing is to die for nothing.
Well, the question would be, what can they do? What can they do?
Oh, civil populist agitation. Civil populist, because a leadership without checks and balances can go dictatorial, absolutist, like Louis XIV of France, who on the 13th of April, 1566, stood in front of Parliament and declared famously, "L'état, c'est moi, I am the state." Because he had no checks and balances. So even in our own homes, if we don't have checks and balances from our wives, from our children, from our husbands, we go dictatorial. So Thomas, it was, who said, the only price we have to pay for our liberty is eternal vigilance. That's Justice Leonard Hand. And Thomas Jefferson once said, when the leadership fears the people, then there is governance and justice enthroned. But when the people fear the leadership, then there is autocracy. Is that not what we are experiencing? Can Nigerians really challenge their leaders now? Everyone wants to join. If you can't beat them, you join them. That appears to be the Stockholm syndrome Nigerians are now suffering from. Stanley, when asked, how do you control the people? Why do you make them so malleable to you? He said, I give you an example. Say, give me a chick, give me a fowl. They brought a live chick, and he started plucking out the feathers one by one, with the chicken bleeding, croaking, screaming, yelling, in pains, in agony. Then when he finished plucking out the entire feathers, he dropped the chicken. He started dawdling away in pains. Then he said, watch me. He dipped his hand in his pocket and brought out some grains, and then called out to the same chicken that he had just tormented. The chicken ran back. Stanley bent down with his palm open, and the chicken started eating from the very palm of the person who had just tormented him. So I think the average Nigerian has been so pauperized that he's no longer in a state of melancholy or dejection, but rather in a state of helplessness and hopelessness and helplessness.
It's a terrible situation. I mean, we were just looking at Niger again.
Yeah. Niger.
It's coming. People think the flood is, no, there's more. Because every year, the same places.
We have Nigerian Meteorological Service, right?
Yes.
We also have NEMA. Some of these things are known ahead that there will be flood.
Flood warnings are given, communities are stipulated.
So what do we do What have we done effectively?
Is it the lack of accountability?
Lack of
no
accountability.
one is held responsible for it.
Negligence, lack of accountability, nobody being held responsible. Look, we are even lucky that we don't have severe natural catastrophes. Some countries suffer tornadoes, tsunamis,
volcanic
eruptions, landslides. We are lucky with our terrain. And then mere flood comes and we see it ahead. What do?
We're hit left, right, and center with disasters from here and there. Look at the killings have continued in Benue.
Not just in Benue.
Around the country.
In Plateau.
And the insecurity. I want to remind you of something that happened. Your captors have been sentenced to prison.
Yes.
I think they're in 20 years.
Yeah.
It's 20 years in prison. I remember then, and I kept thinking to myself, if Professor Mike Ozekhome can be kidnapped, who am I? Who am I?
And the irony is that I was not targeted. They operated randomly. And this was in the hot afternoon, about past 2 p.m.
In the daytime.
On the 23rd of August, 2013. And I was released on the 12th of September, 3 weeks later. And that it could happen on a government highway near a police post, a police station on the way to Ekpoma. And the 4 policemen that were coming for my aid, or to my aid, were brutally gunned down in my presence. And the kidnappers made it clear that they didn't profile me. They didn't know who I was. It was about 2 days later when the news filtered that they knew. And they came to me and said, sorry, sir, we didn't know it was you we kidnapped. Had we known, we would have gone to drop you back because you have been fighting for the common man, including us. It was so touching. And I said, okay, thank you very much. Now that you know who I am.
Can I be released?
Can I be released? They say, oh no, sir, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. The vehicle you saw us use, we bought it specifically for the operation. We have burnt it so that it won't be traced to us. So it's expensive to carry out this thing. Very well organized, educated youth, driven to this because of poor governance template. Governments that practice elections, what in my Ozekhpedia neologism I call electionocracy. That's what we practice. We just finished one election. Rather than settle down to govern, we're already looking forward towards another election with endorsements here and there of governorship candidates, of Mr. President, people falling over each other to endorse Mr. President, who has not been allowed yet to do his job for over 2 years. Bootlicking at its highest level. Decampments, cross-carpeting by governors who won on the platform of a political party, throwing all morals and decency to the winds, and then crossing over to the opposite party because you want to come back. It's like beans, akara, and momoy. They're the same. So they have no scruples because they don't have any ideological bifurcation. And that's where we are.
It's a very painful
situation. We are gradually driving, without knowing it, towards a one-party state. And it's a dangerous move if we are not careful. Because in a one-party state, dictatorship reigns supreme.
The president says we shouldn't worry about that. It's one party making a difference.
Yeah, no,
not a one-party state.
You will see dictatorship. Because everybody will agree. National Assembly pocketed, we agree. Judiciary will be pocketed. And everybody will be saying yes, yes, yes. Dictatorship, absolute corruption, which can no longer be checked because everybody is there. The truth is that such a party will still implode later. Oh, history shows that it will implode. Listen, in this country, we watched PDP. They ruled for about 16 years, I remember. And it got so cozy for them, so beautiful, that at a time they said they were going to rule for 60 years. Right? Remember? it got so cozy that they even started deregistering members of the political party. Can you imagine? Instead of recruiting members, they were now deregistering members. Get out. But what happened at the end of the day?
Well, you see, someone has pointed out that these endorsements, these massive endorsements that have been given to the president, former President Jonathan got the same thing.
Yeah.
And lost the election. Is it possible?
Well,
Is it possible that with all these endorsements, President Tinubu might lose the election? Because you have said that it is this election in 2027 will be, I'm going to coin a phrase, it will be our stomachs versus versus the president.
Yeah.
So is it possible that the Nigerian people might get to a point maybe in 2027 where they say, look, we now have to make other decisions. We don't.
Yeah, but that has to come on the platform of a strong opposition. A strong opposition.
Do we have one?
There must be a political party platform that these Nigerians will coalesce into. We saw that virtually happen during Peter Obi's Labour Party.
In 2023?
In 2023.
2027, do we have that sort of option?
I am yet to see. Because the opposition parties are themselves fractured. PDP has its own internal schism. Labour Party has its own internal schism. All the political parties. So with that, with a strategic person like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has been able to put in place in all the critical sectors of governance, his own people. All of them. From EFCC to DIA, DSS. Of course, the judiciary, that is providential. That is a Yoruba woman because she earned it. But with the legislature, a National Assembly, firmly under its lock and key. With the Ministry of Finance, Central Bank.
Some people might call that good politicking.
Yeah, well, whatever it is.
An astute politician has boys everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
And puts them in places.
Yes, he puts them in places. So even the INEC chairman that has just been appointed to replace Mahmoud. So I see Tinubu virtually running against himself. That's what I see. I may be wrong. I want to challenge Nigerians to do something to prove me wrong. That Tinubu will not be running against himself in 2027.
I'm about to take it to his area, the judiciary.
Yeah.
Now, we know with Jusun, when Jusun went on strike, I think some pockets in Jusun are still insisting that they are going to continue the strike. But generally, the negotiations have happened and they've come to some kind of resolution. But my question has to do with the questions that they are asking. Salary.
Yeah. 70,000
naira minimum wage
not being paid.
And then we saw the visuals of some of the courts. I wouldn't sit there. But it is a place where we are calling a hall of justice, and these places are dilapidated.
Dilapidated infrastructure. Judges writing
with long hand.
Lack of incentives.
Is there a game we're playing here that might backfire on us?
I wouldn't know whether it's a game, but I just know that the judiciary has been ignored for too long. And it's garbage in, garbage out. It's what you sow that you reap. The judges themselves are human beings. They live in the same society where the policeman shoots a person for refusing to give a bribe of 500 naira. They live in the same society where the customs man turn his face and allow goods to be smuggled in. They live in the same society where the immigration officers will allow foreigners to infiltrate into the country without valid papers, to the extent that if you go around, you see Chinese people frying gari, frying akara balls and gari, granite, Chinese. They are out here. How did they come in? So the point I'm making is that in a society like that, that is infectious, that is contagious, you need to treat the judiciary respectfully because they are to deliver justice between man and man, between man and government. The judiciary must be well funded, judges well paid, so that They can become like St. Michael, Archangel Michael, or St. John the Baptist, or even Jesus Christ that can see bribe and turn away his face, because you see, what are they going to give me? After all, I'm taken care of. I have enough to feed myself and my family, to train my children. I have a house to retire to when I'm old. The present government, I must give kudos, has done something good in this respect through a new law last year, giving judges, for example, Supreme Court justices, I think they now get about 54 million naira per annum. That translates to maybe about, is it 54, 56? That translates to about 5.3 million naira per month. Well, it may not mean much in the present inflationary period, but it is a leap forward, and all judges' salaries have been increased. It was Justice Uwaifo about 20 years ago, during his valedictory sermon or speech, who said, a corrupt judge is more dangerous than a man armed with a dagger. He said the reason is that a man armed with a dagger can be restrained physically, but a judge that is corrupt destroys the moral fiber of the society. We have a proverb in my language. See, akatu somi de nato dafu. Usomi ake akonato yo. What does it mean? If you sell your head to buy a cap, which head will you have to wear the cap on? So, if the people on whose behalf these new imperialist reforms are being carried out, if they die, if they starve and die before the bountiful harvest arrives, who will enjoy the harvest? That is when Mr. President has to look at it very critically and know that there's trouble, clear and present danger in terms of poverty, abject penury, grinding poverty. Nigerians are barely surviving. People say this poverty is actually being weaponized. Oh, it has been weaponized. It has by this administration. Yeah, yes, much weaponized. There's no doubt about that. Hope 93. I want to quote something you said. Yeah. When you were talking about Hope 93 and the dream. Yeah. That people like you had for our country in 1993. Things have since gone from bad to worse. Yeah. Nothing is working. Nigeria appears to be lost in the labyrinth of successive bad leaderships, of state captors, and political buccaneers, suckling dry the blood of Nigerians, their primitive acquisition instincts, and bacchanalian propensity to consume. Yes. I like that, my phrase. You must have seen that from one of my writers. Yes. Bacchanalian propensity to consume are simply alarming. Yeah. Nigeria today is anything between 1,400 to 1,800 per $1. Inflation to an all-time high, with the vast majority impoverished, earning less than 30,000 naira a month. Fuel is untouchable and diesel unachievable. So I'm not happy with the country's situation today. It is not palatable. The common man is dying by installments. Yeah, I think I wrote that somewhere. I said that somewhere. You are right. Yeah. The situation has not improved. I mean, while we can't blame President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for everything that's happened in the country, he's only been here for 2 years. Yeah. Is there something he should be thinking about? Yeah, we can't blame him for everything. That is true. But strong leaders are known when things are bad. People like President Dawood, Eisenhower, Winston Churchill, Abraham Lincoln, many presidents, Mahatma Gandhi. Is it possible presidents who came when things were bad? He transformed. Yeah, he has an historic opportunity to transform Nigeria around. For example, Mr. President should know that his budget was infused with about 11,126 extra items by the National Assembly, which cost 12.5% of the budget of 54.99 trillion naira. A government that wants to succeed must cut down wastages and leakages. Your assessment of the Tinubu administration in 2 years?
1 being absolutely terrible, 10 being what we've been hearing the endorsement people saying, he's done a great job. Where would you rate his performance in 2 years?
I will say he came out boldly to square up to the challenges. But he's getting it wrong in the methodology that he's applying. You have to live by example, not by precepts. You must let the country know that I feel your pains.
Not just saying it.
Not just saying it, because words are cheap. I feel your pains. I don't need that presidential jet I just acquired. We don't need 109 senators with about 54 committees, each of them fully equipped. 360 House of Rep members with about 79 committees. We don't need this. We need to cut down government. We don't need up to 45 ministers as we have them today. We don't need them. We need to block leakages. So when we are borrowing over 160 trillion, when are we going to pay it? We are mortgaging our future and the future of our children. I think the president should look inward, cut down drastically the oil subsidy that was meant to be, or that had been removed. Where are we investing into? What critical areas? I can't see it. Now you are starting a Lagos to Calabar coastal area, about 11 to 12 billion dollars. How many trillions of naira? Is that really a priority at a time when there is hunger and starvation? You can't blame them.
Your word to the Nigerian people as we wrap up right now. What can we say to the Nigerian people?
My words to the Nigerian people: be resilient, hold your governments accountable to the people, because the power is yours. It is not theirs. You merely send them as agents. You are the dog that wags the tail. They are the tail. A tail cannot wag a dog. But above all, be hopeful for a better tomorrow. Don't get disillusioned as to give up. Tomorrow, I believe, which is the today we talked about yesterday, will be better.
I want to thank you so much.